I had a choice in my life, to die or do something. I suffered a lot of depression and eating disorder, and I had to do something about it. I didn't know what it was, but South Pacific came along. First impression was, oh my goodness, how am I going to go through this? Took me about 3 days to settle in, and I actually felt quite at home when I was here. I was amazed that, for me, being able to cry in public and not being judged or told off about it. It was depression and, unbeknownst to me, eating disorder. I just thought I didn't eat. I just didn't want to. I hated my guts. I thought I was a worthless piece of that shouldn't have been born. I thought I was everybody's problem, and I wanted to die. So I have 2 kids that I needed to be there for, and I needed to do something about it. I used to be very big on self-harming myself and tried a number of suicide attempts, and I didn't know what a normal life was. The abuse that I came from, I didn't even realise it was abuse. I was sexually, physically, mentally and emotionally abused my whole childhood, and I just thought that was a normal life. I thought that I was a flaw in life, and coming here I realised that the stuff that did happen to me was actually abuse and also not my fault, and over the years that I've learnt that I am worth being in this world. I didn't realise I really had a problem. It was after I had my daughter that the depression kind of kicked in for me, and seeing how precious she was and not understanding how people could do stuff to somebody like that, that's when I clicked in there was something wrong with me. Well, there was never anything wrong with me, but I thought there was. When I first went to groups, I used to think, I can't tell people my stuff. They don't want to know about my stuff. And realising and hearing other people talk that I wasn't the only one with problems, and they seemed quite normal people and nice people. That's what got me. People were nice, even with all these things that were going on in their life. And for me, that was huge, to realise that I wasn't the only one. The shame that I carried my whole life, which wasn't actually my own shame, being able to release that in group. I had a fantastic therapist, very powerful. She let me know that the feelings and the shame that I had about who I was as a person wasn't actually my stuff. It was what was given to me from my own parents. That was huge, to realise that it wasn't mine, and I didn't have to feel like that all the time. 10 years down the track now, I still have stuff that comes up for me, but at least now I've got the tools and the knowledge and the wisdom to know, come back in here if that's what I need to do, but just, I know how to help myself, and I also want to, for myself and my own kids. From where I come from, I didn't think there was any hope for me, and there is hope, and that's what I can tell people about as well. Coming from where I came from, tears weren't permitted. The only feeling was that pretend smile that everything was okay. So here, to be able to feel no matter what I was feeling and still be accepted and loved was huge. When I first was in group, I did feel intimidated. I thought, what are they going to think of me? They're not going to like me anymore because this is my stuff coming out and this is probably who I am. But once again, just hearing what other people say in group, you share your story and then you get feedback, and the stuff that people would say to me was like, oh my goodness, because it was all not complimentary but supportive of no matter what I was said or how I was in the group. So that was lovely. I was 34 before I got into recovery. I hated my guts at the time. If I made a mild mistake, I would be literally verbally telling myself off, or physically hitting myself or cutting myself. I just hated me so much. A lot of that was shame-based from what I've learnt being in recovery from my past, thinking that there was something terribly wrong with me. And it is the best thing I've ever done. to be in recovery. I come from a very abusive childhood, which I was unaware that was abuse. My first memory was at the age of 4 when I approached my grandmother, which was my dad's mother, and told her what Dad was doing to me, however a 4-year-old would say something. She slapped me around the back of the leg, told me if I'm not a good girl I'm going to die. She dragged me through the house and locked me in the wood box, and that was my first memory. So I learnt at a very young age, don't ask for help. She was a very abusive lady. That was a repressed memory that I'd forgotten about, probably to keep myself alive. But her way of punishing us and Mum and Dad's support was the witch was going to eat us. Didn't matter if we were good or bad, we still were going to be eaten by the witch. I found out as a teenager she was actually the witch that used to tap on the windows and the broomsticks going at the side of the house. You'd open the door sometimes and the witch would be standing there, and it was a person with a black blanket over their head. As a child, I believed that was true. Mum and Dad would ring her up and tell her to come over. They'd say it was the witch they were ringing because we were naughty. We were sent outside for the witch to eat us. All that sort of stuff went on. The sexual abuse, as far as I remember, went on from when I was 4 years old to when I was 14. Every opportunity my father would, he would abuse me, and I feel emotional about that for some reason. That I used to lie there when he was doing it to me and not understand what it was, just knew it wasn't right, or didn't even have that thing, just felt yuck about it. The physical abuse was, didn't even have to be naughty. And one time Dad, being an alcoholic, slammed the fridge door closed one day and all the milk bottles fell out and some broke, and I got slapped across the head for that because he broke them. The verbal abuse from him and the verbal and physical abuse from Mum was just constant. I felt as a child, no matter what I did, it was wrong, and I was wrong. There was something wrong with me. So, and I don't feel that children should have to go through any of that. Yeah, so that's kind of where I come from. I didn't want to live anymore, especially after having 2 beautiful kids. I didn't feel I was good enough to be their mother, and I didn't know how to be a mother, and I tried suicide a number of times, and without this place I would not be here. South Pacific for me is like a second home. The minute I'm driving up in the area I feel so comfortable. Like I said, I would not be here if I hadn't come to this place. Just the support that I'm given. I walk in the door and there's somebody I'm bound to know. You always get a hug, a big smile, feel so at home in this place. I love it. The therapy side of it was amazing. Just to learn the wisdom that I have now about who I am and the knowledge, and it is amazing. The tools that I have to help myself and those around me, and especially with my own kids. With my children, my job before I got into recovery was I'll be their mum, but I was emotionally unavailable for them because I hated my guts so much. And now I can say, oh my goodness, I have the best kids in the world, I love them so much, and that is huge because I see my kids are wonderful and the confidence that they have is amazing, and I know it's because I'm helping myself that they've got a good chance in this world.